One of the largest hurdles you will encounter when beginning your language journey is also the first hurdle you will encounter. I mean being able to read and write in Japanese. Now, let's cover some of the basics. The Japanese writing system consists of 3 writing systems that are often all used at once. If this seems intimidating, the basic systems are actually a lot easier to understand when compared to relying on the Roman alphabet, also known as ROMAJI in Japan. Roma from the word Roman, and Ji from the kanji symbol or character. Now, why do I say this is easier? Let's talk a little bit about the Roman alphabet, also known as the Latin alphabet. While one of the most widespread alphabet systems that is currently in existence, the Latin alphabet is actually quite recent. Scholars date its invention and spread at around 600 BC, and it has been widely adopted, or in some cases, forced, for you colonized countries. However, while the alphabet remains constant with a few exceptions, the way it is read and spoken can vary differently depending on the country or region. As an example, let's take the abbreviation of the word high definition. While some countries may pronounce this as HD, other native speakers may actually pronounce this as HD. And this is only an example that applies to English. If you spoke a language like Spanish, for example, the letter J in that language is often silent, thus resulting in it again sounding like an H. The Japanese writing system is divided into 3 types of alphabet, mainly hiragana, katakana, and kanji. The common advice you will hear from most language schools is to first memorize the hiragana and the katakana, learn to read some sentences, and eventually pick up the kanji. In my opinion, this is putting the cart before the horse. Historically, hiragana and katakana are derived from kanji, or as it's known in China, the Hanzi. Now, if you're interested in learning more about this, be sure to leave a comment down below. Also, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. But getting back on track, Hanzi is a logographic writing system. If you don't know what I'm talking about, think of it as a pictograph. It is a symbol that represents an object or meaning, but does not necessarily have a specific phonetic equivalent. Let's take, for example, the symbol for enter. This symbol can be pronounced as iri, ire, iru, hai, etc. Depending on the combination of the kanji, it is actually quite possible to read an entire sentence without having any idea of how that is pronounced. So when you start learning hiragana and katakana, it is important to note that these writing systems evolved from symbols of Hanji that were commonly read in a certain way. Again, let's go back to the example of enter. A majority of the way that this is read is E. Of course, this depends on whether the symbol is read in kunyomi or onyomi form, but let's not get into that today. I just want you to keep this in mind for when we start discussing kanji, and it is important to note that in hiragana and katakana, these 2 symbols were developed as a phonetic writing system for the people that did not have the time or resources to learn the Hanzi, or in other words, the kanji writing system. After all, there are thousands upon thousands of these Hanzi symbols. So remember how I said it was easier to learn hiragana and katakana? Well, it is, because these 2 writing systems are phonetic, meaning it is impossible to make those mistakes that may occur if you rely on the Roman alphabet. Thus, what was the point of this explanation? All of what I just discussed should be used as background information to emphasize a single point. And that is not to memorize the Japanese writing system, but to instead use it and expose yourself to it while consuming Japanese content. This can be done immediately by trying to read a Japanese sentence or Japanese books without prior memorization. If you're using a textbook, Print a hiragana and katakana chart and read the words. You can use an English translation book or an app for this, but do not convert the words to ROMAJI and attempt to read it that way, because this is again going to hold you back. Now, if you're using an app like Lingo Deer, it's best to turn off any ROMAJI text output in the settings and just train your brain to read the native Japanese content. But I guarantee that if you do this for several weeks, you will notice that you will be able to read some basic Japanese sentences within the first few months, rather than wasting all of that time trying to simply memorize their alphabet in a vacuum. Be sure to check out the links below, and if you want to support the channel, I have a Patreon page also available there. Once again, be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.